G'day, girls and ghouls. Today I'm going to be talking about the dismal state of our plastic recycling system, not just in Australia, but across the world. I know what you're thinking. It's okay. I swapped out straws for blunt shivs. I'm an environmentalist. I'm so sorry to break this to you, but giving up something that literally serves no purpose is not an act of environmental aid. Can we just all agree we know how to drink out of the side of a cup? We can do better, is what I'm saying. The straws aren't enough, and here is why. Our plastic recycling system is fundamentally broken, and it cannot be fixed. Let me take you back to the beginning. Plastic started being produced for war reasons. And then, once the big boys had put their guns away, it was time to give everyone else a turn. Plastic was marketed as so cheap you can throw it away, because disposable products mean return customers. This worked for a while, but people started to notice trash and pollution building up, which led to environmental protests against the use of plastic. This is where it starts to get sinister, so buckle your seatbelts. The plastic industry took the existing recycling symbol and created their resin identification system. Look familiar? They then lobbied the government to mandate that this resin identification system be placed on every piece of consumer plastic worldwide. This symbol is intentionally similar to confuse people into believing that all plastics are recyclable. Whereas in reality, recycling plants only take a small fraction of these plastic types, if any. In fact, for a long time, we haven't been processing the majority of our recyclables waste. We've been exporting it. China was a major importer of post-consumer plastic. There's a few reasons for this, but the cliff notes are: 1. China exports a lot of products, and these cargo ships often return to China empty. 2. China was making a lot of cheap plastic goods, and it was profitable to use post-consumer plastic. 3. The only reason it was profitable is because of their incredibly effective and cheap plastic sorting system. People. All that changed in 2018, when China suddenly stopped importing the world's recyclables. Places like here in Australia, where we had never set up the infrastructure to deal with our own waste, buckled immediately. The War on Waste does a great job of exposing this, and I recommend a watch. But let me put it this way. Germany is the world leader in plastic recycling. They sort their plastics into different sections, and their collectors are allowed to refuse collection if you mess it up. Within this vigilant system, how much plastic do you think is recycled? 90%? 75%? 50%? Or 16%? It's 16%. A mere 16% of their plastic is recycled. The best system in the world is able to process 16% of post-consumer plastic. The rest is exported, illegally dumped, or burnt. That is the best case scenario. So anyway, I made a lamp. Okay, sorry, I got cold. If, hypothetically, we could redesign the world's waste management system and get the plastic recycling industry working, could we make plastic recycling work? No. The answer is no. The same properties that make it moldable and flexible are also the properties that make it degrade after 1 or 2 cycles of recycling. The plastic industry figured this out in the 1980s, but kept it quiet for obvious reasons. So, Bella, this is all awful news, but where do you come in? Aren't you supposed to be presenting your design that you've come up with this term? Yes. Yes, I am. Okay, so, infuriated by the knowledge that I've just plagued you with, I started working with post-consumer plastic. By using the tools Precious Plastics have been putting online for free, and with a few YouTube tutorials, I was able to start using plastic in a makerly way. I was able to create sheets and tubes, all which became the basis for my project. Similar to wood or ceramics, I want to explore the realm of making handmade objects from plastic. It's a fairly foreign idea as plastic has always been machined, so to see something handmade from plastic is sort of bizarre. My premise here is that the industrial approach to recycling plastic has failed. It will always be more expensive to produce recycled plastic than it is to use virgin plastic. By utilizing the skills and community of makers, we might be able to produce small batch, unique objects that will be more valuable, less disposable. By recontextualizing this material in a handmade space, the social materiality shifts. This bit's for you, Rachel. An object is transformed from a piece of stuff to a social object by being embedded in a narrative. The narrative here is that a local maker has transformed plastic waste into an entirely new product, and I believe people will respond to that. So, finally, without further ado, here is my lamp. This lamp represents weeks of labor involved in the plastic recycling process. Gathering, separating, storing, cleaning, all happens before I even start the making process. The plastic is then chopped up with scissors into manageable chunks for my blender, and then I blend the plastic into even smaller pieces. Once the plastic is ground down, I store it in color-coded tubs ready to be melted into sheets. I heat up my panini press to around 180 degrees Celsius with reusable barbecue mats on the top and bottom. And then I've poured a mix of yellow, white, and transparent plastics onto the heated surface. After about 20 minutes, the plastic is warm enough to be compressed into a sheet. I clamp these molten sheets between two pieces of strong, thick plywood while they cool in order to prevent warping. Once I have all the sheets I need, I then use a heat source to melt the edges one by one and weld the plastic together to create a cube shape. Finally, I added a light source to create my lamp. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.